Yeah, he is happy with it. All right, now to Seattle, where people aren't happy because, you know, that whole thing about raising minimum wage at $15 an hour, it ain't working. A whole lot of restaurants already have had to trim their staffs as a result. Our next guest is now suing the city over this wage increase. International Franchise Association CEO Steve Caldeira joins us right now. Steve, we saw all kinds of economic white papers that pointed, by the way, from the left and right, that pointed to higher minimum wage having a direct correlation with less work. Nevertheless, Seattle went through with this anyway.
Well, let me start with, it's great to be with you, Charles, but the fact of the matter is that Seattle last year, the city council and then the mayor subsequently signed a discriminatory minimum wage law that would boost the minimum wage up to $15 over 7 years. But here's the deal. If you're a non-franchise business across the street from a franchise business, you get 7 years to phase in to the $15 an hour. If you're a franchise business on the other side of the street, you only get 3 years to phase in. So it creates an uneven, unlevel playing field, if you will, because of the franchise business' association with the national chain. So that's why we're suing the city of Seattle. That's why we presented oral arguments in the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals last week. Former Solicitor General Paul Clement under President Bush presented great arguments about how this violates the Commerce Clause of the United States, the Equal Protection Clause, and the Washington State Bill of Rights.
And Steve, I would assume it feels like then Seattle's taking a cue from the administration, which the NLRB has been fighting to sort of say the parent company and the franchises, the franchisees are one and the same anyway. I don't know if they've been able to push this through completely, but that's been their argument the whole time.
Well, look, I think you know, this whole fight for 15, really what it's all about is unionization and collective bargaining. It's much easier, Charles, as you know, to try to unionize a company when you can do them in a cluster as opposed to one-off mom-and-pop establishments. Right. And I think that's what's happening here. And look, I'd rather be talking about, Charles, to be honest with you, that we're an industry that creates franchising, 18 million direct and indirect jobs, nearly 800,000 establishments, and 40% nearly of our franchisees represent minorities, veterans, and women. But yet, here we are dealing with more blatant, politically motivated government overreach by pro-union government entities, and you know it's really tough on these small business owners who've been going through a tough slog since the Great Recession.
I want to ask you real quick too, Steve. Over the weekend, President Obama signed in the executive order requiring a paid sick leave for federal contract workers. To me, it seems like we're going down the same path. What do you think about this?
Well, I just think it speaks to the point of, look, I think our franchisees want to retain employees. They want to give them the best benefits they can. We are an industry of opportunity. But again, Charles, what this is you know, more executive and regulatory fiat by administration that seems used to it by now, but they don't understand the economic consequences of this to small business owners, and they clearly don't understand free markets and free enterprise.
That's right. And if they do understand it, then they don't care because they want it to look a whole different way, which is not free markets. Good luck to you in your lawsuit. A whole lot of small businesses are going to be watching, and we're going to be watching as well. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Charles.
Could this